What is going on? What is going on, people? Get y'all up, right? How y'all doing today? What's going on? This is the second day of the mini bike vlog. I just got finished doing the work on the X1. That actually is done. I took that out for a test ride not too long ago. Um, I recorded a couple of videos on my GoPro, which is actually now going dead. Which let me power it down. I just recently did a couple of those videos on my GoPro about the bike. I'm gonna actually try to upload these videos start tomorrow to be able to have you guys more, you know, visible or seeing what's going on with the build and how well it's holding up. It's holding up pretty good overall, besides the fact that I need to take a couple of washers and stick them behind the chain so they can protect the camshaft and everything. It's not something that where the motor doesn't function at all. It functions the way it's supposed to properly and actually fairly good than what I expected. Excuse me, I do smoke brown cigarettes. All right. But with that build, I actually am glad because I have another one that I'm going to be working on. That's going to be with a Honda GX motor, 200 motor. I have to just get a back wheel and another set of forks for that bike. Now, what I really was hoping to have done was to order the forks from somewhere else and keep the ones that are on that bike. um, but even if I do the X1 that's completed and built, we'll still need those forks. So I might as well take them off that bike and put them on there because without it, that bike is dangerous. At any given time, it could bottom out, and whoever's riding it could end up getting seriously hurt. I wouldn't even care about the motor getting damaged when it comes down to your livelihood and your health. Um, I can't stress it enough, people. If you have a helmet, try to wear it as much as you can. If you have lights laying around, lights like little flashlights or anything like that. Matter of fact, just go on Amazon. I think like 26 bucks it costs for a little dirt bike headlight. All right. If you have an X1, put one of those on there. If you don't have the factory fairing that comes with the headlights and all that stuff, and if you know how to hook it up, then you're already a step ahead. But please make sure you always practice safe. All right, safe ride. All right, I can't stress that enough. I've seen people get seriously hurt just on a mini bike. All right, I would honestly have to say a lot of people need to stop being so pessimistic about mini bikes, thinking that these things aren't dangerous when they are. It's not just about the people that are driving in cars that are on sharing the road with them. All right, that bike alone is, with it being a beefy motor on such a small bike, I've actually gotten a lot of chastisement about, from people. All right, my wife has told me not to pay attention to it, but I've got a lot of chastisement about me putting a big motor, they say, what people are saying like that, on a small pocket bike. All right, this is kind of ironic because if you look up on what I'm doing this live video on right now on YouTube, there are several people. Okay, may not be many, but there are several people enough to where has been six. I even know personally several people that has built these things. All right, along with myself, and it has always been successful. All right, the bike itself is not too small for that kind of motor because if that be the case, then you might as well say that a 100cc motor is too powerful for a little bike like that. Mind you, it's too powerful for a regular pocket bike. It's not too powerful for a super pocket bike. That X1, I have two super pocket bike frames. Well, two super pocket bikes. One of them is a complete bike, and the other one just is missing the back end of the sprocket. Other than that, and the throttle, um, it has everything else. It has a gas tank. It has another. It has an engine. It has a brand new carburetor. um, this one I might end up making the exhaust too. So I'm gonna try to do it different than I did the one on this one. I'm gonna have that one running out the back too. But this next one right here has a custom hitter that I made myself. All right, and I do delve in making custom hitters a little bit. I'm not saying I'm some kind of professional because I'm not starting on the fad part. All right, I haven't even been not even what 6 months into it yet, but I've done a good job for that to be my first job. It took a couple tries, and I'm not ashamed to say it. All right, whenever you're building something like that, and especially your eyeballing it. All right, eyeballing it, that's what makes it hard. You're literally, and I did that off of eyeball. I mounted that frame. I'm sorry, I made that motor mount off of just eyeballing it. Which eyeballing, you're liable to make a mistake. Percentage rate, probably 60% chances are than you are to just go ahead and draw it up like most people do and lay out measurements and all those things like that. All right, eyeballing is pretty much the hardest way of building mounting a motor, but it can be done. All right, if I could do it, I guarantee you anybody else can do it. Right? Mine didn't come out looking the most like O&B or Go Power Sports, it's worthy of material, but I'm sorry, I mean about not worthy of material, but worthy of quality. All right, my quality is still good, just as much. And I'm not trying to compete with Go Power Sports because these people are professionals. I'm just a guy that owns a small business that does this as not only as a business but also as a hobby. So I more want to bring my own spin onto it. This is no more different than anybody else. I've done many a rides, and I've had many a different style of bikes. All right, this is my first ever super pocket bike, and to be honest with you, I'm fairly satisfied. I thought it's pretty much measured up to every single thing I thought it was going to be. All right, you never know when you do a build. Like I had a little pocket bike, but it wasn't a super pocket bike. I thought it was before I got it, but I never bought it brand new. I bought it from a guy off Marketplace or Craigslist, one of them sites. But I bought it off of him, and I was so proud of that thing. I don't know why, because that bike was literally that. The pocket bikes are literally too small for a grown man. All right, super pocket bikes are meant for adults. All right, either that or a experienced teenager. But if an adult is going to go about getting one, you better off getting a super pocket bike. All right, I'm not going to lie to you; these things brand new, they value at over $1,000, and that's just with the Chinese motor that comes, the factory motor that comes on it. So converted to a fully automatic 212, it takes the value up to be just as much, depending on the quality of how the bike looks and things like that. But that's how much this bike is worth. I would not take I'm sorry, but no less than 1,000 for that bike. It has brand new forks, brand new wheels, gold wheels, brand new chain, clutch, engine, everything on that bike, even the fairing. All right. Besides, the only thing on this that's been used is the chassis. Other than that, everything on that bike will be new upon anybody purchasing it. But it's going to be $1,000 firm out the door. I'm sorry. I, I can't do too much negotiating, but a little, just a tad bit. But I'm not. I wouldn't go no lower than like 850 for this bike. All right. I put a lot of time and I put a lot of money into it, so I would have to get something back. But it's a good bike. I would rather hold on to it to get 1,000 out of it than to sit up there and sell it for any cheaper than what, because I'm not selling it in the state that it's in. It takes the value down on the bike. The forks being bent, the old fairing, those are only two issues that, well, not issues that need to be addressed because it's just more of a look cosmetic issue. But the forks, it already has brand new forks in here. All right, just need to be put on, and that's what I'm going to do. Um, and I have brand new fairing for it. I have a bigger gas tank for it. Um, I even have a brand new shock for this mic put on it. So just know that it's getting completely rebuilt. All right, so like I said, upon purchase, there's even a brand new throttle. The governor has been bypassed. The stage one, it's on the way in the mail. It's going to get a bigger jet. Yeah, it's just it's all around. It's a 420 chain ran on it with a 35 clutch, pour it out to a 41 plate. I'm sorry, to a 420 plate. Let me see what else. Uh, Custom chain tensor bar, brand new sprocket. Um, let me see what else. Front brakes, kill switch. Let me see what else. Burning air filter, custom, like I said, exhaust. That's pretty much the whole list on that bike. All right. Yeah, it's pretty much like a whole list of things that are on that bike right now. So if you were to ask me, the wheels alone cost that color at least 150 just for the wheels alone. All right, and with the tires, that's with the tread on it. Those wheels alone are worth about at least 150 to 200 bucks out the gate. The engine is 160 alone, factory stock. I even still had a receipt for that. The chain alone by itself was already $30. All right, the clutch another 30. Yeah, that's just pretty much the whole list. Like all the parts that are in here, but it's more parts in it. All right, the shock, the forks, the brakes. All right, the throttle, the kill switch, and of course throttles and kill switches don't cost that much, but you know them forks they cost money. Them forks are not cheap to get. Let y'all know that outright. And them rims too, they're not cheap. The only thing that's easy on this bike to get would be, let me see, fairing. That's not hard to get. Shock is not hard to get. Swing on is not even that hard to get. The only thing on this bike that's hard to get right now are wheels and forks. Some odd reason, those are the two main parts of this bike. Whenever you're gonna look, be careful now because I went to a company, um, and I'm not bashing them or anything like that. Would never even think to. I just think that it had poor customer service because most websites, for one, they didn't have any pictures. I found that kind of odd. Like, how am I supposed to know what kind of item I'm looking at? I mean, yeah, I know, the name and all that, but I want to at least see what color does it come in. Does it come what it looks like with that color on it, blue? What does it look like with that color black on it? What does it look like with that color gold, red, whatever, And some odd reason, they ended up giving me a refund and a call. Um, but they weren't both like simultaneously back to back. It was like they spread it apart, you know. And then I was like, okay, well, hold up. Most sites, if they know that they do inventory every so often, all right? I'm talking about frequently. They have to do inventory because it's pretty much every single day. Why? Throughout the day, because they don't know how much product is leaving off their shelf. So they got to count to make sure that they have whatever. They know exactly what they have left, so they know exactly what they are allowed to sell. Oh, I only have. Yesterday I had 5 of them, but I ended up selling 4 of them before half the day was out. So now I only got one. I only got one. So now I have to get ready to start reordering. To stock up. This company doesn't practice that. All right. I'm not going to disclose their name. All right, but I will say they have terrible, terrible customer service. All right, you would be shopping with them at your own expense. I would not say not to shop with them, but it all depends on you. You have patience to deal with that, then it's cool. Yes, granted, every site is not going to have every single part. I've looked everywhere for those forks and those wheels. Mm. I knew somebody that's the reason why I was able to get them. But if you're trying to buy them out the factory, you're not going to be able to find them. At least without having to constantly sit by your laptop or your cell phone and wait. Hopefully, they'll send you a notification saying, "Yeah, we just got a shipment in, so go ahead and place your order." You know, They don't even have pictures, so I found that crazy. And then you can make the payment, but they're gonna automatically just refund it. And what's crazy is they don't do it right away. They literally, I waited a couple, at least 4 days till they. I'm thinking like, all right, well my forks are on it. They're coming. They're coming. They about to be shipped out. And I was wondering like, why in the world are they not shipped out yet? That's when maybe send the company an email saying like, look, I paid for my item Flying Square. All right, what's going on? Why haven't you shipped it out? And your website says it normally ships out between 2 to 5 business days. So I'm just calling just to check up and see what's going on. Is there a hold up? Is everything okay? No, they're out of stock. So you waited 4 days to tell the customer that already paid 4 days ago that you out of stock. Now I'm not saying it would have. I'm not. I don't want to sound greedy, but it would have been fair to give me some kind of compensation for that. But I looked at it as, you know what? I'll take my money back as the compensation. I just want to order. So now, and plus, like I said, I've never really been too good with, especially starting off on a new build, and you got to try to make sure you don't order the wrong part. Like those forks, those triple trees on the X1, the current ones are only like 22 something centimeters, I think. The last time I measured them, I didn't measure the new ones yet. I think they should be on 33. So it's here. 22 inches long. So I'm thinking the reason the new ones are so tall is because they haven't really been used right yet. So in most cases, it's going to sit up a little high in the front. I think actually it will level the bike out. So that should be real fun. You know, it should give it a more up, upright seated position. I know if I were to take the spring, I'm sorry, the shock out and put the new one on, that bike would probably raise even the back end up a little bit. But at the rate it's at, I like it. You know, it responds good. It I know it can get me up a hill without no problem. Just gotta be careful with that throttle. That thing is swirly. That throttle one is welded. I did this build differently. I didn't do this build like everybody else did. Like they bolt and twisting, and all that. I was welding, like welding the throttle cable onto the nut for the throttle assembly. So basically, the throttle assembly is on there permanently. Never permanently because you always got to just take an angle of the Dremel and cut it right off and just replace the throttle cable. No, not a big deal, but I just decided to weld it on. Why not? I mean, think about it. Even if I would have had went on here and tried, because I tried to thread it through, but whenever you cut this, it's crazy when you cut the little tip off of the throttle assembly so you can fish it through and get ready to assemble it up to the throttle linkage. They don't really tell you that you gotta have a really good set of wire cutters because when you're trying to use any kind of set, you're literally damaging the integrity of not the integrity, but you're literally damaging the head of that throttle cable. So it's really pretty much going to come unraveled by the time you cut the head off. So I got so irritated with it, and that was the last throttle I had. I said, I'm not losing this throttle. No, I was like a surgeon. I had one last idea that I knew would have worked. Like, so I got a welder. I know I just welded it. welded it on. It's held up ever since. I've never had any, besides having to put a bolt, which I actually have to tighten that down so I can straighten that out with a throttle assembly. So it can be bypassed completely. It's was bypassed completely right now, but it is so it can stay bypassed. You know, so it don't do no damage to the, the governor arm, because you know you still have those parts inside the engine when you bypassing the governor. You really technically shouldn't take that engine, I think, no more than 3,600 RPMs in order to avoid damaging or having those parts there to fall out. All right, because that flywheel and the magneto is constantly running, and you don't want those little like a little wash or a little plastic piece to break off and get stuck inside the engine because that can damage and major engine failure. And a lot of people they'll run through engines not even caring. I'm sorry, but I love mini bikes to the point where I will do not want to have to replace my ever have to replace my engine. All right, you have to take care of it for one, and two, I love mini bikes too much. All right, to the point where you will never catch a bike that I ever owned sitting for years. Hell no, I gotta be in the corner. And I still tell the person, man, you better put my body on that bike and start it up. You better get on back or something. Ride with me on it. I'm not gonna stop riding just because I'm in a coma. Just record it. I'll see it hopefully when I wake up. I've done so much work on that bike. Like I've had people say like, yo, you know when you sell a bike, man. Now I've had more people just talk, a bunch of smack, be like, yeah, they want to buy it, but when it comes to the time, it's time to knuckle up. They don't show. You be like, yeah, okay, well, I already expected that to happen. I mean, I'm not gonna just. Like I had a guy I sold a bike to. This was weird. It was a Megamoto Stage Two, all right, 212. Now, as a little kid, all right, my age, he's a kid. I sold him the bike at 12 o'clock at night, and not only did I sell him the bike, I delivered the bike to him. Got there, didn't have no gas in the tank. Right? I think it did have a slight float issue, so the float had to be adjusted. I told him that. Make sure you adjust the float because it does have a slight gas leak. If you don't adjust the float, the gas leak will stay there. If you adjust the float, the gas leak will stop. He didn't do it, and I seen a video before him prior to me selling him the bike, and it was of his old bike, which is the reason why I was selling him that one because he had to replace it. He should have never showed me that video, and it's kind of ironic that he didn't show me until after I sold the bike to him. Now, it was some good money from that product, you know. So I went ahead and did it. But I kept playing in my head, and I came back home and told my wife about it. I said, this video. I mean, I feel like crying. I feel like doing all of that other stuff. I really regret that. But, I sold the bike to him. Went over to his house. But to make a long story short, he did something. Ran the bike into the ground already. He hadn't had it ready for a week. He had the nerve to hit me up and say, yo, can I give you this bike back and trade you off for that DB30? Now I'm thinking, do you want to buy the DB30? That's a whole separate transaction. I don't sell nothing to anybody that's ever faulty, that would ever be damaged, or anything of that nature. Ask anybody about my work, you will see. All right, you'll have some people that are satisfied. All right, but the other people, like one person I had a customer that had run the bike to me. It was too much in a bad state to do anything with it. Like, I mean, the piston was fried. It was pretty much done. So I informed them about it. Like, look, You be spending more money trying to call yourself rebuilding this more. Now, if you just want to sit there and have a sentimental project, it's not that expect. Don't expect no good to come up and come down to cheap prices. So dude said, you know what, he was kind of irritated. I thought you said you could fix my pipe. Yeah, I can actually fix it. There's something to fix. This is beyond salvage. Don't bring the car completely total to somebody and expect them to be able to work a miracle and bring that car back to life. Because I ain't Jesus. All right, I can't resurrect no wood. You know, a mini bike, motors are not really expensive, but they're not cheap either. When they were $100, guaranteed you like 3, 4 at a time. I got 60. Only one of them was bought brand new. One of them. I don't think I really predators have to be bought brand new all the time. You could take a predator motor and keep it for a couple of years and it's still hold up. It's well maintained and taken care of, right? Like clean the carburetor out every so not too often, but you know, like maybe the time that is needed and giving it a oil change and cleaning your spark plug, cleaning your clutch, moving your clutch, keeping the chain straight. Um, Maybe a couple years down the line, swapping out your air filter. Uh, Maybe a couple years, upgrade your carburetor or upgrade the parts inside the carburetor. Those things along the line that you take care of. But if you don't, you're not going to get no life out of it. I've seen some kids literally run a motor to the point of no return. And ain't logic. That's kind of like frustrating because I be not. I never, neither one of my daughters ever think about it. All right, I really feel like if you want to take a bike and bring it to the ground, Jesus Christ, like I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do with your bike, but I just can't watch it. I can't stand to watch it. I be literally getting this like it's literally my bike. Like I got 6 bikes in my collection, and I'm getting irritated about somebody else in their one bike. They probably got multiple too. I'm sure they not just one at a time around. That's probably the only means of having fun probably at that time. That's one of the means that they just went to first. Huh. Well, anything, but with that being said, I have literally never seen anybody ever really do a build like this one that's constantly floating around. It's an EV30, I think. It's all black with some X18 tires with swing arm on the back. And, look like a factory stock Predator. Like it's an old, and it's crazy that I mean you'll see people doing all of these ones like all doing these one side engines, right? How in the hell? Now, no hating on that picture. Now. I like that. That's where I got that idea about the swing. Spring, and then I decided against it. Just going to change out the front wheel and straighten out the forks. What I mean by straighten them out, it's not like they're not bent. I just got to grind down these dangerous edges because they're literally too sharp. And the hitter, other than that, oh yeah, remount the gas tank because it's all break up right now. So I end up doing that. Probably have to put the gas on. Well, I have to find another gas tank, different style gas tank to put in. So I could take the white one that's off the X18 that I got on there and stick that one in there. That can mount perfectly up at the top, and I wouldn't have to worry about the issue with I could take that gas tank off, right? Just and the gas tank that's on this X1 right here. I was planning on putting that on this one right here anyway, so once I swap the fairing out, that fairing right there, sand it all down, most of it painted. Um, it's going to be a better piece this time than that fairing. The fender, the the back fender, I'm going to leave on here. Anything, might end up taking it off and painting. That chain tester bar that I put on there, I might end up just snapping it off because it seems to be well without the sensor. All I have to do is put some water on the motor, but it holds up real well without the sensor. So I can cut that off. And the kickstand, I have to re-weld that on. So that's pretty much it. Side, everything that I'm doing now is all on to wrap up this bike. Of course, I'm replace the forks and finish off the header. That's the two things that's going to take me the longest to do. But everything else is buttoning up. Get this bike ready to where I can probably add on to it. Like I said, we get like this. How the batteries will work. I'm just going to run a 20 volt or 12 volt real battery. And yeah, I'm going to do it that way. It's going to look like a light. So it's going to have a tail light as well. Find some good sun coats. It's probably going to end up getting out to right where the head bar because I don't want it too close to the header. The header is going to run out the back. So of course, yeah, I'm going to end up having to put them there so that way I can be a little bit deeper than like the Supreme he's going to get so different type of hit. Like I'm going to probably buy, not probably, but when I change out the front wheel, I want to take the forks and I'm like I said, fix those. And those handlebars, I want to pull them back from. I really don't like the way that thing sits. And at some point, I'm going to definitely throttle on there because that throttle, I don't know what the hell is up with it. That bike literally got so many wires hanging off. It's funny. I don't know what goes to what. I know the kill switch does work perfectly. The throttle does work perfectly. So I don't know how the hell he got that thing rigged up in that chain. Something about the brakes. That's what it is. The brakes are too tight. So I gotta adjust the brakes. I mean, that thing stops on a dime. You can pop wheels in this thing. I guarantee you that back brake ain't going nowhere. If that front brake, if that back brake was the front brake, you go burn off this thing without no problem holding it. All you better do is hold on to that brake before you really twist that around. The X1 has brakes that's kind of on there. They do work real good. Work real good. But I know with that kind of motor, over time, I still have like, I still have another brake, front brake motor that's going to end up being used. Because I'm not just something like that from the other forks. So it's going to end up being used in like that front wheel is going to get put on little chopper. So that's what this X1 right now is. So of course when I'm covered it around, I'm clean it up some. Clean it up. It's stuff like moving, grease, clean it up. And boy, no job in that front wheel. It's a little job. It's a little what's the front wheel? You know what? I'm sorry. But get that X1 tire around. Sorry, I think that other shop, that other brand. I can take the other wheel and I can put that. That's when I build it. Just kind of back around. Yeah, it's gonna look good. I mean, I might end up leaving that front wheel that's on the shop and just taking that wheel off this section. The other one, keep that one right there. So all I have to do is find the back wheel. I just put that find the back wheel. So I need the back wheel and supports. That's not going to be done until like most get into the market. Use that one. In the meantime, we need to focus on on that motor, cleaning it, and all that, adjusting the valves, and bypassing the government. I already got some just only cost $10 for lights. It's crazy, but it's a good price. I need something that it comes with 20 of them, so it is. I have multiple of them. Whereas I have what six bikes in here, I'm gonna be using six sets. You know, and all I'm gonna get a big jet. Supreme this gas tank. Little child with this that thing. And I gotta finish that gas tank off. And probably end up having a lot of cake now. It was only like $200 tops. I still want to make these bikes look real good, as close to brand new as I can get them. And that's gonna be starting with that X1. And after that, all other ones gonna fall into place. But as far as I'm concerned, I might end up doing with this X1 is a chassis will be painted black. It's gonna have black. It's gonna be all black, silver forks, gold rims, and red fairing. It's gonna be a nice bike. Believe me when I tell you, when it's done, it's going to be nice. I might end up just painting one of them before the end of this summer. And I decide whether or not I keep that bar. If I take it off, it'll probably make the bike way better. I'll probably have to cut off those tabs. But I don't see me ever finding any way possible to make it better. Or find somebody that knows how to make fairness or install like a custom made the whole motor, you know. But I ain't gonna lie to you, I might end up trying to find somebody down the line and see. It would be pretty cool to see if I can find somebody that knows how to do that. Yeah, it's just it would be just two bolts on each side of the pattern. I think we'll have to get two separate pieces. And I would probably definitely put the bracket at the bottom of the mount that I have. So that way the parent can be bolted to that. So it can be hooked motor somewhere. But that would take a massive fabrication. That could be optimal. That would have to be like I said, it would have to be put up and based off messages too, because you gotta go along with how the way the motor's running, with running. Plus you got the air filter, all that. I might put a push on here. That can start. Uh, of course, that means running off of a battery. So that's pretty much how that comes from. That comes. But overall, the pipeline's good. I want to take it like out away from this one eventually, but I can really run it around the forks or place. You know, take it up, load it up in my truck, take it out. This one is gonna take a little shot with some gas to too. Because I told my wife, right, that I want to eventually get the bikes looking so good that I can put it in the show. I guess she was more teaching me, you know what, be proud of your collection. Be proud of your bikes. And how you be proud of it is to show it my work, not just by the money, not just by the ride, but now I have to start working on the looks. I'm good at the, I'm getting somewhat good at the building part of it. You know, I've never really built anything. I didn't eventually get to one. Eventually, I did it from scratch, no problem after that. Um, like I said, it be just buttoning up everything else. And it was like, make sure that the sprocket is like, yo, I ordered the sprocket, I know it can't be that. It's got to be just the bolt issue. So while they were constantly backing out, I think because that's a heavy duty sprocket, so I got some heavy duty bolts. Now, I don't think, if anything, I think the other two bolts are black. So that way it match at least that one. But You won't really notice it. Once I think those two bolts black, you won't notice that. One bolt makes a difference, but it holds up. So when I put that confirm in the bolts, I already had a kill switch. Get ready to be wired up. Plus, it's actually upside down, so I'm going to do forks. Flip the right side up and go and cut the wires. Now that I can take it off, take it out of the fork, and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to leave it, the exhaust I made, the other end from the booster. I'm going to leave that part on there. I'm not going to take that off. What I'm doing is I'm going to just slide it into one of the rotor off, you know, call it a day. Once I put that other 400 in the hitter, um, so what we'll be doing after that is, like I said, it'll be probably better to get ready. I probably will end up taking my rubber mount and knocking that bar off. And I will, that's one bar. I think it'll look better without it. I think it'll hold as well without it. Especially all that mountain and well trying to do. That plate I think it'll be fun. Just fine with that plate. With that mount that's on there, it has two square tubes. That's made into a motor mount plate. Like I said, this design is not where the motor to be industrial adjusted. And that was a result of how it ended up coming out like that. So yeah, it came out well. It came out well, you know. That's why, like I said, these things stay up on the lock key out. I'm gonna play the game. I'm gonna find some really technical things. I would be my own thing. They come second. That's just how I need. I'm sorry. When I play the game, my bike's out. I never leave like where I'm from. I would have never been able to have this bike ride where I'm about to get this. It had to always stay on the lock key. Because the very second I walk off, this is how it is where I'm from. I'm actually glad I would never have nothing like this in Baltimore. All right, no offense to Baltimore, it's just I know my hometown. All right, and I ain't saying everybody's like that, but you always got that one person that you walking down the street. It's ironic. They actually do your job just so happens to be there. They're sitting out on the porch as bait, and they roll up and take it. So I'm very, very appreciative to have my man cave right here because of my shop too, because it stores my wife and keeps under lock and key where nobody can get to it. You know, I don't have to worry about coming up this out in the elements like right now. It's a little chilly out here. That's why they got me loaded up at midnight. You know, this is where they always have me not riding. Uh, is that right? So often I don't ride. Most likely it's right. I might end up going out there tomorrow morning, going and riding that up for a little bit because I do like riding that. I don't know for some odd reason I ride up. I tend to ride. I ride chopping too. I ride my bar. I rode my bar a little bit. Generally start going back and doing riding that more often. So I'm gonna try to ride all of it as on DB30. I got to lose my things. I ride that DB30 because I got the brakes. Those are really good. So you'll hear it rolling down the street. It sounds like my truck. Me and my wife's truck. When it rolls out, the DB30 when it rolls down the street, you can hear the tires. The sun is winding. They brand new tires. Like I take that. If I were to take that like to a trail, I guarantee you, them tires ain't gonna hold up. Okay. I can close the shop up. So I keep everything up under there. I put a lot of keys. So no names. Alright, that's it from me tonight. Catch me in tomorrow. Alright. Y'all be safe and take it easy. All right, peace.